Okay, so I've kind of got it all sketched out a little bit, and I've got the wood grain slats in here and basic outline of the skull. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to take a general layout pencil, and I'm going to start shading, but first I'm going to put a piece of paper down because I don't want to smear my hand everywhere. So basically this whole background area is black, so I'm going to start by just kind of outlining. Now if you see that you've made an error in your drawing, now is the time to fix it before you use this, because this is really hard to erase. So I'm going to start pushing a little harder to really get those dark areas. The nice thing about a General's layout pencil is it's a softer graphite than like your number 2 pencil. If you have your own drawing pencils, my favorite one to use would be like a 6B or 8B or 9B even. So I know that eventually I'm going to continue all this out, but right now I'm just trying to get kind of the outline area. And I also use this dark area almost as like a palette, where I'm going to take my blending stump and I'm going to take this and I'm going to come over here and use this to draw with to get my shadows and my shading on my skull. Now you can see, if you look closely, I haven't gotten all of my grid lines out. You want to make sure you do that before you begin, because otherwise it's on there forever and it looks ridiculous. It looks completely bad and poor craftsmanship. I'm not going to worry about the inside of the eye socket though, because I know I'm going to cover that up with the pencil. So while I'm doing that, I think I'll go ahead and do the eye socket. And it kind of gets a little texture-y out here on the edge. And then I'm going to go up. Get a little bit of a lumpy it's got going on there. Curve it down. Now my hand naturally makes this arc when I'm shading, so if I know I'm going to go this direction, I go ahead and turn my paper that way, because it's really hard to shade against what your natural movement is. So, something my art teacher in high school told me, and I found it to be very, very invaluable advice. Now, I'm not just going like, okay? Fill it in. You might need to go in different directions. You can do circles, but you don't want to see all the streaks through it, because we're working on good craftsmanship, not craftsmanship. So come down here, darken it up a little bit, swoop up. Looks like there's a little bit of line right there. Fill that in real good. And sometimes you'll get these little impurities in your pencil, and they just kind of make a scratching noise. I'll just come over here and kind of scribble, try to get it out of there. There we go, that's better. Because you don't want to scrape the paper or mar the paper, because then the pencil graphite doesn't adhere to it quite as well. I'm going to take my blending stump again, and I'm going to try to get this eyebrow in here. And you use the blending stump just like you do a pencil. I'm not using the tip. I see so many times kids just marring the tips, just crunching it on in there. If you want a lighter mark, then you just don't push as hard. And then if you're like, ooh, I don't like that there, I boogered up, like that's a little too dark right there. You just come back in here with your kneaded eraser, knead it a little bit, and lift it out of there. And just keep on shading.